Hello there, welcome to part 2 of the Ragtime pair video. Hopefully you've enjoyed part 1 where we talked about the swing and straight versions of Ragtime, and I gave you this little bit of homework using this rhythm because you really need to master this particular rhythm, which is the foundation of Ragtime. You really have to get that down. Now, because we're going to use that in this using a chord now, a major triad, and I'm going to introduce how to apply that with the left hand, and it's going to be without stride first and then with stride, and I'll give you a sort of variation on, or a few variations on the stride in the left hand. So the first things first is, of course, likes, comments, subscriptions are always welcome. Have a look at my video management website, Waterpianism, Cinemas, perhaps Patreon, and all the other goodies below. This is going to be a very, very step-by-step video, so the timestamps are going to be quite useful if you'd like to come back and watch it, just to continue where you maybe finished off to try and do some homework. The first thing to do is you're going to get used to doing, I think I ended the previous video, but just to remind you, and I'm just going to drill it again, this right hand pattern, starting on the third using octaves. Third, octave, 3, 5, octave. So I'll do that again. And then the second part of that is third, octave, third, 5, octave. And then you can either go 3 octave or 5 octave at the end. So try and get that down first. Sometimes you'll play the third and sometimes you'll play the 5 on the last one. Now, let's, so you can practice that going chromatically through the keys. Etc. Just really get that into your hand because it's going to be the foundation of the melodies. Many melodies are based on that, like the Maple Leaf Rag. So the first thing to do is to introduce your left hand to that. It's going to require a lot of coordination. You're going to have to do it very, very slowly, but it will come. Close your eyes and it'll be fine. So first of all, the left hand, you can do a little finger called a pinky bounce using just the triad, or if you want to, and I do recommend, put the octave in as well. So you're playing 3 notes after the pinky bounce. So first of all, maybe just get used to doing that. Okay, and maybe slower, and get used to doing that with just one finger in the right hand, with that rhythm that you just did, but try and put it into here, and just listen to how it sounds. You'll have to do it a lot of times and hear it. You have to hear it and feel it. Fine, but you're going to do it with the octave version with that, and you can either do it like with the octave I recommend or not. Let's do it in the key of D this time, and we'll do it here. We've got enough space on the piano, do we? Yes, maybe in the key of B, because it doesn't matter. So that one I played the 5. That one I played the 3rd. On purpose I did that. So that is the first thing you have to get used to. And if you don't want to do it with the octave, do it without, and try again to go chromatically. If you can get that down, you are 90% of the way there to playing Ragtime repertoire, which is going to be not necessarily part 3, but I'll link from part 1 and part 2 to some tutorials I may do of some Ragtime pieces, because I haven't actually done a Ragtime tutorial. I've just realised, and that might be quite nice to do if someone has any favourites. I used to play Maple Leaf Rag, Black and White Rag, what's the other one? Pine Top Rag or something, I think. I used to play lots of these when I was like, well, this is like 20 years ago I used to play them. I actually started the piano with Ragtime. That's how I got quite a sort of good left hand going, and the coordination came quite quickly because I listened a lot. You have to listen to a lot of Ragtime, of course, Scott Joplin for that, I guess. So that's a great thing to do, just doing that. And try and do it in all the keys, it's quite nice. Now, if you want to take that just a little bit further, a bit more challenging, you can put the left hand as a dominant 7 chord, a flat 7, which happens quite a lot. Still on the pinky bounce for now. So let's do it in the key of E. I'm trying to use different keys, encouraging you to do the same. The right hand is playing the octave still, because you don't really play a 7 on top in Ragtime, you'll play the octave, but the left hand will play that flat 7. So let's just try that one. Just go up chromatically to the F1. So I'm playing the flat 7 every time. That's quite a nice one to do. Just jump one more in D flat. So that's really great fun. If you can just get yourself to that level, really, that is just very, very, you know, it's a joyful thing to be able to do. If someone listens to you playing that, even if you just go up chromatically doing that, it's quite an impressive thing to be able to do. Especially if you haven't done it before and you suddenly can do it thanks to this video and the previous one. That'd be quite nice to know that that's happened to you. Now, I'm going to just, the next part is going to be to take the right hand just one level higher to get you used to a kind of, let's just call it a pivot motion. So I'll just demonstrate in, I don't know, a key of E flat. Doesn't really matter. So you're just going to put the third here like this, and you're going to do the same thing, but this time you're going to move the octave to the flat 7 in the right hand. So now we're getting our first movement in the right hand, and it goes like this. Exactly the same pattern, but instead of playing the E flat in it, you're going to drop down to the flat 7, or E flat in this case, the root of whatever key you're in. You're going to go down to its flat 7, so just a whole tone below. Like that. And it just comes out something like that. And again, you can do that with that bouncing left hand if you want. So let's just jump to another key to demonstrate that key of G, for example. So I'll just play the left hand like this. Yeah, I'll do it here without the octave, just so I can stay in frame. Now we're going a bit more ragtime. That's quite exciting. Here I'm playing the third. Sounds a bit more comfortable to play that because it's more sort of symmetrical, you know. It's like in the middle when you're doing this, like when you're putting the 7. It's quite nicer to keep the third in the middle in all the keys. It's a bit more comfortable, but do what you want, of course. So let's just try and do that around some of the keys with the whole thing. So I have to keep an octave apart. Now maybe I can put them together because my right hand's going to play the flat 7 actually. So it's like joining onto the left hand. And each one gives you a different kind of movement. So the C one, you have to go down like that when you're pivoting. That's why it's called a pivot thing. This one happens to be, you're pivoting after the 5th. So you're getting like quite a nice pivot there on that middle finger on the G for this one. When you go to, I don't know, D, you're pivoting also, but it's white to white. So it's quite easy. Just a little thing there. But the C one, you have a big wrist movement to get to that B flat. Fair enough. E flat is black to black. It's quite nice. And then F is going to be like the C one, down again. So you have to get used to all these different shapes. The D flat one is black to white. So you have to you're getting a bit of work out there. It's quite good. So do that. That's a great exercise. If you can go automatically through all of those, fantastic. And again, if I can just add on an extra little bit there, you can also now go the other way. So where? To the 9 or the 2nd. So look at this. With the 3rd. So try to mix and match. Let's go from, I don't know, A this time. We haven't done A yet. I'll do A here because it's not too muddy. So you're going down to the 7 and then up to the 9. Well, you might call it the 2nd, but it's kind of the 9 because there's a flat 7 involved, and that forces the 2nd to be labelled as 9 rather than 2. So you can go to 9 to the 7 or the 7 to the 9 using that same pattern. That's why I gave it to you in video 1. Like that. Just go to what haven't we done yet? F sharp. Just mess around. And it's just going to sound fantastic. Now, all of that done, you've jumped to this timestamp, left hand stride. What's the lowest note I can get to on the video? F. Okay, but even if I go lower, it's because I'm doing an octave. Now, there's a few ways that you can do this, and I'll go from easiest to more challenging. First one, very, very simple. It's called stride, octave jump. Little finger, or sometimes the ring finger plays it. Depends how your hand is, how it feels. Sometimes I might play with my ring finger on some of them, but often it's the little finger. So it's root, triad, an octave higher. That's it. That's the first thing to master. Don't introduce the right hand just yet, because you've given that a good workout. That deserves a rest. You just need to do this a lot. I mean, maybe set yourself a limit of doing like 100 every day. 1, 2, and like as a really strict, you know, what's the word, regimen, something like that. In all the different keys, of course. Maybe 4 times in each one, just to get used to each one, because you're going to go through each one as you're playing ragtime. You can't escape. You can't just stay on C and F and G and D and A. You have to go to other keys sometimes, because the song will pass through. Like Maple Leaf Rag is written also in a key of A flat, so you can't really get away from that. So that's the first one. You're going bass, octave. Next level, put the flat 7 on top. Let's go to G. So you put the dominant 7 here. So maybe get used to playing the stride with 4 notes. And again, you know, why not go around the keys? Oh, play major 7 there. G, A flat, and it has to come naturally. You just have to just feel like my fingers just fall on those shapes. It just falls. There's not a lot of thinking, which is very important. Too much thinking in the world. I looked at the screen then. Okay, fine. So that's the idea. So that's a great one. Now you can do that also with minors, minor triad or minor 7. They are the main chords in ragtime. So A minor 7, F minor 7, D minor 7, G minor 7 next. So that was quite a lot. Another common chord type is the whole diminished. So you have to learn that chord. Let's try G. That happens quite a lot. So mess around with that. Right hand's having a break. This is all about the left hand at the moment. Now, taking it a step further, you can do, which one should I start with? Yeah, I'll start with this one. You don't only play, I'll just do a G major 7, G major triad here. What you can do is then put either above or below the note that you started on in the bass, the 3rd or the 5th. And they all sound kind of different in their own little ways. So if I do it in D, for example, I'll go here. No, I'll go to A actually. I'm going to put the 3rd in it. Now look, I might play A7 with the 3rd in the bass. It gives it more melody in the bass. Get used to doing that. It's not as hard as it looks. Slow it down. Let's go to F7, F minor 7. This time we could put the A flat in the bass because it's the minor. Of course you wouldn't mix minor with major, so it would sound a bit weird. Now my eyes are scanning. I mean, I'd say it's kind of 80% precision and 20% eyes helping. G minor 7. Now that's putting the 3rd or the minor. You can also put the 5th. So let me maybe do it with the demonstration in B. That would be F sharp. This happens a lot. Now notice I'm going above each time the bass. You can also go below. So if I'm playing G, I might go down to the D. There's a D down here, so look. Down to the D. It sounds a bit more fun. Instead of playing the 3rd above. F, the C below the 5th. See, it sounds a bit more bouncy when you put the 5th below. So experiment and play around with doing that. There's a lot of stuff to do down there, and there's a lot of stuff with the right hand up here. Probably months and weeks of you to practice. Eventually you're going to get it. It's going to sound fantastic. Now, in the left hand, everything I've just said can be done with an octave doing those bass notes. So I don't need to repeat it all again. You just simply play whatever your little finger was going to do. You just duplicate that little finger's note with the left hand thumb. That's it. It's not the thumb which goes lower, it's the little finger which goes higher. So we'll do that. So of course, you know, begin. It's quite a nice, like, it's like a heartbeat or something. It's like a lung going in and out, just like this, because you're going octave, closing to a chord, opening to the octave, closing to a chord. That's quite nice. So what happens often in ragtime is that you'll play the octave in the bass. So I'm playing 2 Ds here, really low down, up to D, and then you'll play the 3rd as an octave as well. That one. So you're mixing and matching. So there I didn't, but I was going to play the F sharp as an octave, then as an octave, and then maybe not an octave, as an octave, as an octave, not an octave, not an octave, octave. Sorry, was that not octave or not octave? I can't remember what I did. Octave, octave, not, octave, octave. So you're mixing and matching. That's what gives it that interesting sound. Now, all of that aside, to close the video, you have to mix everything we did in the right hand with everything I've just talked about in the left hand. So that's the conclusion of this video, and that's going to be a very big good luck wish for you. So let's just give an example in the key of A. So you might, it's going to be, I can't tell you what I'm going to do because it's spontaneous. That's the point. So sometimes I'll play it with an octave and sometimes I won't. Sometimes I'll play a fifth, sometimes I won't. You know, sometimes I'll add the 7, sometimes it will just be the triad. It's mixing and matching. It's not a steadfast rule to follow. And the right hand, just do anything that you want with the 9 and the 7 with that pattern. Okay, and you have to put them together. So there was one in A. Let's go to E. That was up to the 9 and down to the 7. I don't know what I did in the left hand because I'm not even thinking about it. Let's go to F for one more example. Let's do F minor. So there I noticed I put the flat 7 on the bottom there. You get the idea. I think that if you do these exercises enough, you're just going to get this. And it's just going to be burnt into your fingers like it is in mine. You just can't possibly make a mistake. So you just want to get used to moving it around. So I went down to the flat 7 there after the 9. Just mix it and match it. All that stuff with the right hand, all that stuff with the left hand enables you to end up playing these kinds of things, like the middle part that I demonstrated last time of the maple leaf rag. Something like that. So that's it, mixing and matching, and then you end up getting out these nice melodies and you're going to have a lot of fun, and hopefully that has been an incredibly useful video for you. As always, likes, comments, subscriptions are always welcome. Have a look at my video management websites like Waterpianism and Cinevus, Pat's Patreon, and all the other links and goodies, and I'll see you in the next video. All the best, and bye for now.